Brad Williams, Excel Prime. T-test. Use the t-test tool to determine whether a statistically significant difference exists between two small samples. The analysis ToolPak can perform 3 types of t-tests as shown here. This is just pulled from data analysis. We have the paired 2 sample for means. We have a paired 2 sample for means, a 2 sample assuming equal variance, and a 2 sample assuming unequal variance. Paired 2 sample for means. For paired samples in which you have 2 observations on each subject, such as pre-test and post-test, the samples must be the same size. 2 sample assuming equal variance. For independent rather than paired samples, Excel assumes equal variance for the 2 samples. 2 sample assuming unequal variance. For independent rather than paired samples, Excel assumes unequal variance for the 2 samples. Here's an example of a paired 2 sample for means tests. You specify the significance level, the alpha, and the hypothesized difference between the 2 means. That is the null hypotheses. You want to get into a little more of the t-test. You can read this. As a general rule of thumb, you want a t-test greater than 2. Greater than 2 is statistically significant. What do we do here in terms of running the test? Well, let's go to data analysis, 2 paired 2 sample for means. Okay. Then we'll have variable 1. This would be pre-test. Variable 2, post-test. Hypothesized mean difference. You can leave that 0. You can hit labels. And the alpha, you know what the alpha is. That's the null hypotheses. And then our normal output. The data here. So we'll run a quick test here, and we'll override this data. We're just going to take the pre-test and the post-test. All we're going to do is go data analysis, t-test. We're going to grab this data here, B1 to B30, C1 to C. We're going to use this pre-test data, this post-test data. We're going to get labels. We're going to have this change over to output right here in E. We're going to leave the hypothesis mean difference to 0 and hit OK. And it says we're going to overwrite this, which is okay. Here we have the data, and you can see the variance is pretty close. The correlation is odd. We're saying there's very little correlation here, which may be true because not looking at the data that closely. The t-stat is insignificant. We want a number greater than 2. And then these other tests you can review and dig out your statistics books. But that's how you just do a quick t-test. You can also do this mathematically using these formulas. And I've done it in the past, and this was 1,000,000 years ago. So don't ask me to do it again. No, it's not that tough. The numbers look intimidating, but if you just follow these steps, it's straightforward. Other than that, the t-test is one of those tools you use of eliminating variables. If you're doing, for example, you're doing a regression and your t-tests just don't hold up on the independent variables, well, you want to remove those. On the other hand, let's say you have a horrible correlation, or if you have a poor R-squared, but your t-statistics, I'm going back to the regression. You see how the t-stat here, you have a dependent variable of 3, and you have a 297, which is significant. And your p-values are low. Your R-squared is crappy. I mean, 0.25. Well, your t-stats may override this R-squared. Keep that in mind. So these are all statistically significant. And if this number was, as I said, was below 0.4 or lower, but these t-stats were high, p-values were low, then you could probably use this data. Now go back over to the t-stat. You see a t-stat of 0.28. This data is not statistically significant, and you may want to keep doing this over and over. For example, if we hit F9 and we just ran another number and we went through and data analysis, okay, and I already have this data set up, so I just have to hit OK. Override. Again, the numbers just don't seem to be copacetic. Hit F9 again. Couple times, data analysis, okay, and for some reason it's just not analysis. Anyway, experiment, trial and error, and brush up on your statistics. Brad Williams, Excel Prime. Thanks for watching.